What's up? It's time to talk about buying land, and specifically this video is about Knoxville and Knox County land only. Go check out the video that's more of the Knox Metro 12 County area. This is a very data heavy video. Specifically, I'm going to be telling you price per acre in given acre categories, and then like how much does it cost if you want a driveway? What if you want all utilities? What about mountain views? What percentage of land listed for sale in Knox County has mountain views? Now, if you want to know the buying process and strategy for buying land, go check out that video. It's 2 parts, okay? And then check out also, I'm gonna do a more general video. So go check out that more general video that's gonna tell you, like in general, in East Tennessee, how many properties have mountain views. Again, this video is specifically in Knox County only. So let's dive in and get going. Okay, so what's the reasoning behind this video? I get many clients who want to buy land in the Knoxville area, but I think that the myth is that there is a ton of cheap land to buy. Now, there is a lot of land listed for sale. However, not all land is created equal, and it really depends on your tolerance for size, your tolerance for, do you have to have utilities? Do you have to have a mountain view? Do you need a mountain view and a creek? Do you need flat mountain view and a creek? Do you need flat mountain view, a creek, and utilities? Like, see what I'm saying? So all of those are their own category. The purpose of this is to kind of open up people's eyes, give them information about what actually does exist. And today, again, we're specifically talking about Knox County. So this is kind of 2 parts. The first part, I'm going to talk to you about price per acre in different acre buckets. So we're going to do under an acre. We're going to do 1 to 5, 5.1 to 10, 10.1 to 20. I think I did 20.1 to 50, 50 to 100, and 100 plus. So in terms of land listed for sale, this data comes from the East Tennessee Realtors MLS. That is a 12 county MLS system, but some people outside of those counties that aren't technically a member of that county will list properties for sale. So for example, Sevier County is not technically part of Knox Metro. However, there are land listings in Sevier County in the East Tennessee Realtors MLS. So I just want to point out that in general, we're looking at this East Tennessee Realtors MLS system, but you do have some outliers. But because this video is Knox County, East Tennessee Realtors MLS, Knox County is kind of like the big county. This is specifically where Knox County lies. And so this data is actually kind of catered toward Knox County in a sense. So just want to acknowledge that. Number 2, I want to acknowledge that this is a snapshot in time. So I pulled these numbers in the span of 1 afternoon, so I could get as most accurate and consistent information as possible. So for example, when I pulled this data, it was a couple days ago, at that time in the East Tennessee Realtors MLS, there were 4,391 land listings. Okay, so 4,391. Of those 4,391 land listings, total Knox County listings were 203. Okay, so that's like 5%. So that should, in and of itself, that number should indicate that there's not a ton of Knox County land in general. So of the 4,391 listings, 203 of them are listed for sale within Knox County. So 5%. So what we are talking about today is those 5% specifically. Now, of those Knox County listings that are an acre or less, so if you wanted to get an acre or less, that's 88 total in Knox County under an acre. That's about 2% of total listings, land listings for sale. All right. So let's get into an 88 of 203 is about 43%. So just under half of total land listings for sale in Knox County are an acre. Now, what does that tell us? Well, there's not a ton of options, for 1. For 2, if you're thinking under an acre, about half of what's available is under an acre. which is not a ton. Again, only 88 options, but also that also indicates to you, that means from an acre to 100 plus, not a ton of options as well. So just want to kind of squash the idea that there's abundance of land for sale within Knox County, within Knoxville, which that means that you're going to be paying for that land, right? It's like there's less supply, more demand, prices up, right? Okay, so let's do acreage brackets first. Let's talk about average days on market and pricing. So if we look at acreage in Knox County that's under an acre, land listed for sale, the average list price right now is $2.4 million, which that is not really overly accurate, because one of those listings is a land listing, and it is at it's like half an acre, less than an acre. It's on the water, and it's listed at 1.85 million. And so that's kind of dragging that number up. But that being said, if we look at 90 days of sales action for properties, land listed for sale under an acre, your average days on market is 81, and your average price per acre is $385,000. So again, you've got a high price, and that's of closed listings, a high price for 1 acre and under of land. So if we go up to 1.1 to 5 acres, and I did 1.1 because I didn't want overlap of those 1 acre properties. So 1.1 acres to 5 acres, that's 42 total listings, which accounts for 21% of all land listings in Knox County. Here we saw average of active listings, $113,000. So less per acre than what we saw at the under acre mark. If we look at closed the past 90 days of action, average days on market 41. Again, average days on market is from list to under contract. So from list to under contract, average 41 days, which is about half of what those under an acre lots are listed for. Average overall sold price for land 1.1 to 5 acres in Knox County, $136,000 per acre. Per acre. That's not total. That is price per acre. Now let's talk about, oh, by the way, I get this question a lot. Sold to list price. It's about 93%. So they're not selling at a 1-to-1 ratio. They're selling about 93% of the list price. So that's about a 7% negotiation rate of land listed for sale in the 1.1 to 5 acre. All right, so 5.1 to 10 acres, 23 total listings currently active. That accounts for 11% of active listings in Knox County. Of those, the average in that 5.1 to 10 is 7 acres, and the average list price for active listings is $48,976. If we look at sold action over the past 90 days, that 5.1 to 10 acre range is a hot spot. Average days on market, 17. Even the high days on market was 51. If we compare that to what happened in that 1.1 to 5 acre section, this is a lot less time on market. So a lot of activity and action in the 5.1 to 10 acre range within Knox County. When we look at sold prices, sold price per acre, $34,544. Now you might be like, why is it so much cheaper? Well, the more acreage you get, the less you're going to see price per acre, because that price is driving up the higher the acreage. So you don't see really, unless it's on the water, something that's very, very high, because it would price itself out. It's similar with like square footage. If you look at a new construction 2,000 square foot house versus a new construction 3,000 square foot house, even if they're in the same area, that 3,000 square foot, it's probably going to be less than what that 2,000 square foot per price per square foot was, just because it's driving up the price, right? Okay, so that being said, 5.1 to 10 acres, average sold price in the past 90 days. So I'm making this June 17th, 2024. So May, April, March, right? March, April, May. You know what I'm saying? 90 days back. These listings, some the high sold about 12% above list, but on average, they're selling about 96% of the list price. So again, you do have a little bit of negotiability. Obviously, that's going to be very dependent on the location and what specifically the land is. All right, so then if we go to the next highest bracket, which is 10.1 to 20 acres, 18 total listings, that is 9% of all listings for sale that are land in Knox County. The average price per acre, $73,000. Average acreage at 14 acres in this bracket. And then your sold price per acre, $32,957. So that tracks a little bit less than the previous bucket of 5.1 to 10. Then if we go 10.1 to 20, sold price per acre, $32,957. Average days on market here, 175. So these are taking a little bit longer to sell. I would anticipate that land that is in that 10 to 20 acre range is either further out, it's probably not cleared, it's probably mountainous. If it's something that still exists and not large of a bucket, a lot of it is probably going to take a lot of effort to get to a situation where you could easily build on it. You could do what you need. It's probably going to take some clearing. That is my guess. I do not have the data to prove that, but that is my guess based on 175 days on market. If it were desirable land, it would be gone. Boom, gone. All right, next bucket is 20.1 to 50 acres. That is 11 listings. That is just above 5% of the total land listings for sale in Knox County. Here we see for current active, that's $25,000 per acre in that price bucket. That acreage bucket, 20.1 to 50. Average sold price per acre over the last 90 days is $16,460, so just under $16,500. So again, we're seeing a cheaper sold price than what we're seeing actively listed. Those are more rare to come by, and also probably the quality not as high, but we are seeing consistently as our size bucket goes up, our price per acre is going down. Days on market, 20.1 to 50 is 8. So if you have land, if you happen to be a seller with acreage in the 20.1 to 50 range, you might get some dollars for that, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to sell quickly. However, 93% of sold to list price. So about 7% difference in what was listed to what is sold. Even the high days on market for the high priced acreage in that 20.1 to 50 acres is 10 days. So it's moving quickly. All right, 50.1 to 100 acres. Here we see currently listed 9 listings. That's 4% of all Knox County listings for sale. Of active listings, you're looking at $26,000 per acre. Sold listings, you're looking at $14,000. Now there's only one property over the past 90 days that fits in this category in the solds. So this data, it's literally one sample point. $14,000 for that acreage. It sold at list price. That was $889,900. So and the acreage was 63 acres. So that was on market for one day. 63 acres, Knox County in the past 90 days. That is the only listing in the 50 to 100 acre category. It was under contract within one day. It sold at listing price at $889,900. So again, if you got land to sell in Knoxville, you might want to list it. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you want to hold on to it, right? Because it's going to continue to go up in value. Okay, so 100 or more acres of land for sale in the Knoxville area. There's 2 total listings, which accounts for 1% of all listings of land for sale in Knox County. Of those 2 listings, your average price per acre listing right now active is $23,000. Now, of those that have sold, there has been nothing in this category in the past 90 days. Nothing in the past 90 days that has sold over 100 acres. Now, there is one pending, and that pending situation is 106 acres, and it's at $30,000 an acre. So list price is $3.18 million. So It is sitting there. It's been on the market 221 days, or well, it was on the market 221 days until it went under contract. So, you know, again, some variance for sure. Again, as we're seeing, the more land we're getting, the less of the percentage, with about 40%, for just over 40% in the 1 acre or less category for Knox County. Now let's get into like features of land. And I pulled these because these are really what people ask for, what people are interested in. I did not pull restrictions in Knox County. In other words, I did not do a search for like how much of this land is restricted, because if it's within the city limits of Knoxville, by default of being in the city limit, it has restrictions on it. And then, you know, from there, it's like within Knox County, you're most likely going to have restrictions at this point. Now, there could be the rando that you don't, but the majority of these are going to have some sort of restriction on them. This is where you want to do your due diligence and make sure that you're getting what you want. You can do what you want on that land. Okay, so now let's talk about features. The first feature we're going to talk about is land within Knox County that has a creek. Of the 203 listings of the snapshot that I took, 13 of those have a creek. Now, these are self-reported. So this is not like people are entering this data, right? So this creek could be a creek that you could actually use, or it could be like a teeny little stream going through one little corner that you can't even see and didn't even know existed. So I just want to point that out, that some of this, someone saying it's a creek is an exaggeration. Okay. So of the 13, 6%, those that have a creek actively listed are at $37,000 per acre, which is high comparatively, you know, when it comes to pretty much anything over 10 acres. So stuff with a creek right now, average acres is 28. So average acres, land with a creek, of those 13, the average is 28. The high is 169 acres. And the average list price for active with a creek is $37,000. Now, of closed over the past 90 days, we have an 85 days on market, and then the average sold price $73,000. Now that was for 15 acres, and that sold at about 93% of the list price. So land with a creek in Knox County, hard to come by. 6% of total listings currently active. And then as far as sold, you're looking at $73,000 per acre. All right, this is a big one. Land with a mountain view. Now we have two options when we put land into the MLS. We can have mountain view, or we can say seasonal mountain view. Okay, so just want to let that sit with you for a second, because again, this is the same as a creek. Someone's mountain view could be literally on the back corner of the hauler of the land that you wouldn't even know existed unless you took a four-wheeler way back there, and you may never see when you actually build your lot, okay? Or it could be like Wares Valley, where it's like mountain views 360 surround, okay? So also the fact that there's a seasonal mountain view category would mean that some of this stuff you can't see the mountains all the year, all the whole 365, okay? So of current listings for sale in Knox County, 36 of those are said to have some kind of mountain view, which accounts for 18% of overall listings in Knox County, land listings. List price per acre, those that are said to have some kind of mountain view, $136,000 per acre, and the average is 17 acres. Of those 36 listing, average of 17 acres, that is a higher price point than so if we go and we look at the average price point in that 10 to 25, average sold price in the 10 to 20 category is $32,000. However, if you have a mountain view, your average price point is at $136,000, which is 4 times higher with a mountain view, maybe 5. Yeah, almost 5 times. Anyways, so obviously you're going to pay for a mountain view, period, point blank. Now, when it comes to sold listings, get this. Average days on market for a property with a mountain view. I'm going to tell you the averages. Average acreage, 6. Average sold price per square foot per acre, $395,000. You're going to pay for a mountain view. I want to stress this to you. I know I'm specifically talking about Knox County, but the number of people who want a beautiful mountain view and a creek and this and that, I get it. It's beautiful. Why wouldn't you? But also, it's not free. And I don't want to be discouraging. I'm not trying to be negative Nelly up in here, but I'm just telling you that a mountain view costs, period. Unless you have a great connection. And I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible. I don't want to discourage you, but I do want you to be realistic when you're talking about a mountain view. Yes, I want a mountain view too. However, I am aware I'm going to pay for the mountain view. So just, I'm just saying, okay? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying. Okay, let's move on. The number of people who I've met that are always shocked, which is so weird because we just talked about mountain views. People want a mountain view, and then I'll have people come and they're like, where is the flat land? Why is it so hilly here? So this leads us to this category. The number of land listings that have been described as level, again, these are human entered. This might mean there's a level part of the land at the top or the bottom is level. Okay, so I just want to say, again, these are human entered. Humans enter them, and sometimes we exaggerate, okay? Okay. So land described as level in Knox County, 66 out of 203 active listings, so that's 33% of active listings in Knox County are described as level. Average acreage in this category, 5 acres. Average list price per acre of current active listings is $3.1 million. And this sits in that category of that one property I was talking about that's $1.8 million. That's level, but it's also waterfront. So let's talk about sold in this category. Sold over the past 90 days, sales action, average sold price per acre, $324,000. Now let's talk about days on market. 50 days on market. So that's from list to being under contract. That is your average amount, which isn't crazy. That's about on track with Knox County land in general at that 51 days. But you're going to pay for it to be level. So of what's sold, just for context, of what's sold over the past 90 days, the average is 5 acres. The high was 63 acres. And that 63 acres described as level was $1.9 million per acre. That's a lot. Okay, so let's move on. All right. Let's talk about waterfront and / waterfront access or lakefront in Knox County. Of those 203 active listings, 13 of those or 6% have some sort of water frontage or lake frontage. Average acreage of what's listed with water frontage is 2. And your average list price per acre is $455,000. So by far, this is going to be your most expensive land, although this category of utilities says something different, but $455,000 per acre active. Now, if you look at sold acreage, average sold acreage over the past 90 days with water frontage is 5 acres. Your listed sale price is at 96%, so a little bit of negotiability there. You're going to want to check about dock permitting on here. You're going to want to, and there's some websites, go check that out. When I've done some videos about dock permits, water frontage. What do you want the water frontage for? Does it do what you need it to do? But also you're going to want to verify that the dock permit, that is dockable. And there's some websites for that. Go check out those videos or message me directly and I'll send you in the right directions. But there's a KGIS, map that's actually super, super helpful. You can put the address in and it'll tell you the zoning, etc., your possibilities there. So anyways, water frontage, your sold list price per acre is $111,000. So that's actually a lot cheaper over the past 90 days than like the active are at $455,000 per acre. Days on market about 36. So those are moving pretty quickly, relatively quickly. All right, what about These last two, you may be like, Haley, what's the purpose of this? Why did you include those? But I think sometimes when we're talking about land, people forget that this is a thing. If you're looking at land, do you require it to already have utilities? AKA, I have some clients that absolutely will not buy land that has a well, that has well water. I have some clients that absolutely will not buy land where they're going to have a septic tank. Electricity is pretty much everywhere, so that's not as big of a deal. But this category is there's electric, there's public water, and there's public sewer. Okay, so of land listings in Knox County. Now, this is specific to Knox County. This is not a good picture of East Tennessee land for sale. But this is what makes buying in Knox County land specifically a positive. Of the 203 active land listings, 119 of them, 59% of land listings in Knox County have electricity, public water, and public sewer. So that is a plus you do not have to worry about. Now, they may need to be hooked up and connected, right? There's nothing connected to it, but there is access to. Like for example, where I am right now, we have electricity, we have public water, but we don't have access to public sewer. The line is too far up. So we're on a septic system. Now, if there was a line that we could tap into, we would do that. That being said, of these, land that has these things, $496,000 of active listings, that's their price per acre, $496,000 per acre. Average acreage in this category of current listings is 4 acres. If we look at 90 days of sales and comps, we see that a sold price per acre is $368,000 per acre, and days on market is 81. So not too long, not incredibly short. Okay, the last one, and again, this is where you're gonna think I'm a wackadoodle, but you may already think that. Okay, that's fine. Has a driveway. First of all, concrete's expensive, et cetera, and I just want to say this is not a correct stat, because I was like, there is no possible way this is true. There is literally no possible way that this stat is accurate. The stat is as follows. Of the 203 listings of land for sale currently active, like you can go buy right now today, of the 203, if I click has driveway, the system is telling me that there's 202. 99.5% of all land listings in Knox County have a driveway. This is not accurate. Okay, I went because I was like, there is no way. And you know what? That is true. Okay, so I went through and I looked through all these listings and they don't all have a driveway. Some of them are at the end of a cul-de-sac. Some of them are some random lot, whatever, with no driveway. So just be careful here on this one. See it for yourself, okay? Do your due diligence. Verify your information. If we talk about all of those, which is kind of an interesting stat because it gives us an overall view of price per acre, because we're talking about 99.5% of all land listings currently for sale. $1.1 million per acre of actives, okay? Average acres at 8 acres currently listed for sale. But then if we look at sold land for sale in Knox County, with a driveway, that is $278,000 per acre, days on market 61, sold to list price ratio 93. So selling at about 93% of the list price. I do not think that's an accurate piece of data, but I just want to point it out. I really included it because people sometimes take it for granted, like, oh, it should have a driveway. Well, it may not. So that is your rundown of all Knox County land. Now, maybe there's some category that I didn't address that you're like, Haley, tell us more about that. Tell me a stat that I didn't cover that you would like to know more about. Definitely land in Knox County. The positive is going to be more developed. You're going to have more access to stuff. You're going to be more accessible to things. And then also you're going to be more likely to have water, public sewer, obviously electricity. For the majority of land listings you're going to find is available. Electricity is not as big of an issue, but public water and public sewer are the other like great things to already have access to. So you don't have to build a well, you don't have to dig a well, but also you don't have to install a septic system. Or get a septic permit for that matter. So anyways, this is all things land in Knox County. Go check out the general video where we're going to talk about East Tennessee in general, so you get a bigger picture. If you're thinking like, well, I don't really care about Knox County, but I do want to know pricing for East Tennessee specifically when it comes to land. Go hit up that video. As always, let me know your questions, your thoughts. And as always, subscribe. I'm always wanting to share great information with you. And as you know, I'm always coming up with new stuff to tell you about. So I'm Haley Jones. I'll see you in the next video.